Hey guys, Joe Deary, Powerful Improvements, Putnam, Connecticut. It's the morning after Christmas and I'm just hanging out, messing around with my truck a little bit, and I keep getting some questions like, how'd your bed hold up? How'd the SH, how much rot did you get? Stuff like that. So I'm gonna show you some of what's going on there, some of the issues I had, and I'm gonna show you some of the equipment that I've accumulated over the year and a half that we've been in business. So I'll show you my yard's a bit of a disaster. I'll show you the things that we've got. So first thing I want to start with is the bed actually survived pretty well. So let me tell you, this truck is a 2007 Ford F250 Super Duty, and that held up pretty well. And I attribute that mostly to the plastic bed liner that I had in there. That caught a lot of it. It's like a big plastic cup, and really nothing sat in the bed except a little bit of overspill here and there. My tailgate, however, is not doing well. It was like this prior, but SH on it definitely didn't help. I'm gonna have one of my fabricators weld a piece of diamond plate angle iron or something in there just to toughen this up for the season. What I want to show you with these F250s, what goes wrong with these beds is that the cross members that sit on the frame rails, it's like 4 of them, rot out. And you can tell on the F250, a lot of times you see a bed going down the road like this, it's tilted. That seam right there is tight at the top and open at the bottom, and these lines don't line up. Okay, a lot of times it's much more extreme than this, but that tells you that the bed rails are rotten. So if you're looking at buying a drive truck or a wash truck, that's one thing you want to look for. Okay, so on mine it was like that. I knew it when I bought it, but this truck hated me this summer. We worked this thing hard, gave it no mercy with weight. You can see right there that that's the rail. It's rotten where it sits on the frame. So I screwed a couple 2x4s together and placed them right there, and that works. It's taking the weight off of that and got me through the season. But that obviously needs to be replaced. And then the rest of these look pretty good, but I have a guy taking this bed off for me next week, and I'm gonna weld or have him weld some heavy duty supports in there. Also on the bed, the very front here, where that bolts through, look at this move. I can pull up on the bed. So we're welding plates in there, and that's gonna be on both sides. And the rest of these mounts look pretty good up here. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm also gonna have him touch up these couple body marks that I have. This side's a little worse. I'm not gonna go too crazy. A little bit here. I'm just gonna have him feather in some silver, but the side of this bed did fairly well. It's all scratched up in here from my hoses. So this year, when I build my shelf that comes out, I'm gonna come out a little further. Another couple inches here, I think. I was not very far off, but I'm gonna see if I can avoid some of that hose slap for this season. This, of course, took a pretty good beating. So also, one big thing on this truck, these 2007 era first generation F250s have a 28-pound spring, 2,800-pound spring in the back, 2,800-pound. And then mine has this helper spring in here. And you can see that there's a bracket with a rubber bumper, and this spring was riding on that rubber bumper all summer. I had this supposed to be the helper spring. This thing, you're not supposed to get to this thing unless you're overloaded. This thing was overloaded the entire season. These springs are whooped. You can see there's basically no arch in them, and they're flat, and they're underrated a little bit. So that's why my truck was sagging all summer. Also, the thing's completely empty now. No weight back there except a shovel. And you can see, my opinion, it's still slightly sagged. So we're trying to correct that. We're looking at getting about an inch and a half of lift in the back here, because I'm adding these dually springs that fit the same shackles. This will fit on this truck. It does fit the same axle. And these springs have an extra spring in them, more than the other pack does. And they're rated at 4,400 pounds, and you can see the arch in them. So I should get 1 to 2 inches of lift out of the back of the truck. just by putting that in. And then I got a heavier rated spring. So, you know, the truck is running loaded all the time at its max capacity. So this will help. And then I also got a bumper from a junkyard. It's very nice. All the plastic is nice. No dents in it. Nice shiny chrome. No rust on it. That's going on the truck. You can see the bumper I have on it. Got a big chink right there, some dents, some rust. Of course, we're gonna paint back here, clean up a little bit. I'll try to make it look a little bit better. And then all the equipment, I wanted to show you. So, you know, like I said, the bed liner was a key thing for this truck. And I got that back here. This truck came with this custom cutout or factory cutout rubber mat, which helped a lot. It seems heavy, like a weightlifting mat. It's pretty thick. And then of course I had the bed liner in it. I found this bed liner right online, Craigslist or whatever, at the same time as I found this rack. I got this rack for like 150 bucks on Craigslist or Facebook, I don't remember. And the guy had that bed liner there, and I didn't want it, and I was like, I don't know if I want it. And you know, he wound up giving it to me just to get it off his property. So I got that, and I think that's been really the key to my truck's preservation this year. All right, so also, this is what I've accumulated buckets wise. Still got the 275 cube. I got to place that up in there with the next build and see how it's going to fit. And then these tanks are shock and roof wash that are left over from the season we're storing right there. My empty containers out back here. All my ladders stacked up, dug in. And this is the platform that everything was on this year. And look at that fur. This thing got basically melted in a lot of areas. Maybe a little bit of salvage to happen there, but we're obviously starting with a fresh piece next year. I'm likely doing the same type of wood build out that I did for this season that just passed, just for the sake of investing money on new equipment elsewhere. I'm not spending $2,000 or more for a drop-in skid. I'll build one out of wood for a couple $100 and put my money into a new machine. This is the equipment that I ran last year and kind of the carnage from this year. I ran this Craftsman most of the season at the end last year. Got a lot of mileage out of that. 2.5 gallon minute machine. Made a lot of money with those. Some more shocks stacked back here. There's about 20 gallons sitting there on top of my toolboxes that have a lot of my gear in there. This is the hose graveyard. We're gonna go through some of these hoses, put new fittings on them, make them good for next year. But that's some storage back there. I got this nice little barn sliding door, which is all closed up, so I'm not gonna show you entering from there. But then I got all my equipment stashed in here. Triumph sitting here, my hose reels, stacks of hoses, you know, dug right in. All my leaf blowers are hung up. So chainsaws, everything's tucked in. Still a disaster, but I know where everything is. You guys, I'm sure know how that goes. So here's a couple other upgrades that are going on the suspension. Along with the springs, I did buy lift shocks that are a little bit longer because that spring stack is thicker. So I do need a little bit longer. And these are nice Bilstein shocks for the rear. We've got all new U-bolts going in. Shackle mounts, all that hardware is going to be new. So that's basically it. Just wanted to show you guys some of my disaster. And I look forward to getting this new build put together and get this new rig out on the road. It's going in the shop next Monday, so like 10 days from now. And hopefully I have it back in a week or so and we'll start putting things back together. You guys enjoy the rest of your Christmas break and talk to you soon.